This past Friday, I had the best day ever. The best day ever. And there was nothing particularly different about this last Friday. But it was the best day ever. The kind of day that someone like me, with my history of treatment-resistant depression, with my history of suicidality and hospitalizations and a trip to the psych ward and RTMS shock therapy and all of the psych meds I've had to try and the mood stabilizers and the antipsychotics and all the rehabs and all the relapses. It was the type of day that someone like me couldn't really imagine very well. It just would be one of those things that needed to happen, and it did. I just had like the best day ever. The kind of day that had me pausing and reflecting all throughout, going, whoa, could this be a normal part of life? Not a constant part of life, but could this be something that actually gets to happen to an alcoholic in recovery like me and a depression survivor? Can this be part of life too? Because if so, I never could have imagined feeling quite so good for no apparent reason other than it's just being a Friday for someone like me at this stage of my recovery. I was excited to do very mundane things. I had this sense of wellness and this sense of excitement and curiosity about my day that was unfamiliar. Even when comparing to a few months ago when I was having some good days and feeling really good, it wasn't like this. There was a stillness going on inside of me that is not entirely familiar. There was a contentment, just a general satisfaction with everything that was going on that was not entirely familiar. And it was so relieving. And it was so comforting. And it was so cool. And I just wanted to talk about it. Not just to you guys, but that day I told my wife, like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel so good. And I'm so glad to have a feeling like this. Because we stay so tight, you know, we hold on so tight when we've struggled with addiction and we've let ourselves down so many times and we've hurt so bad in our stories with depression and anxiety. I know I hold on so tight. And to have a day like Friday where I didn't have any perception that I was trying to preserve anything or trying to not let anything go wrong. I didn't have any sense that I was fighting anything on that day. I was just okay. I remember being in my treatment-resistant depression maybe like, God, 2-3 months in. The type of unimaginable discomfort as far as clinical depression goes that we're not meant to experience or survive. The type of depression that haunts me, quite frankly. And I remember praying when I would go to bed, praying the next day would just be a little bit better. Like, God, I just want to be okay. The idea of what being okay would be like if I could just feel okay. And on Friday, I was really, really, really capital okay the whole day. And I had work to do and things to take care of, and it all seemed great. It all seemed great. There was this quiet satisfaction rolling through my body that I couldn't have imagined, and it's hard to explain, although I hope I'm doing an all right job. And my whole day stayed that way, and I've essentially had a few really good days. And I think it's important that I tell you that, and I think it's really, really important that I not shy away from expressing that sort of sentiment about how I'm perceiving my mental health and my sobriety to be for today. Because I've never had a day that good in active addiction in my entire life. No way. Not like that. Didn't need or want anything the whole day. Felt connected and close to the people I was talking to. Felt excited to be wherever I was. Felt a relaxation that is hard to put into words for a guy who has held on so tight at times in his life. And it's invaluable, and it's an important message for any of you, I think, who are still in the struggle and or who have lost hope and don't believe whatever it is I experienced on Friday and the sense of wellness I have with me still today and that I've experienced sporadically throughout the last 8 months, but who don't believe that's for them or it can be for them. It's just something I need you to know, and it's something I want you to believe. If not for yourself, believe that I've experienced this, and I hope in one way, shape, or form I've been able to adequately convince you that I've been hopeless before, and that I have been in a space where I could not be convinced of anything positive. Pain will do that to someone like me and maybe someone like you. Prolonged time in pain can make us very, very cold and very cynical to the possibility that we can have a day or two or three or a week or a month that we're just happy to be alive, and that blankets just feel comfortable and friendships feel important and the sun feels the right type of warmth and food just tastes extra good. And stillness and quietness doesn't seem so uncomfortable. I just want you to believe that it can happen. And I don't expect this to be every day at all. And I just expect, I try not to expect anything, but what I want for myself is just to keep going, just to stay here. I'm a good runner. I run away eventually, and I just don't want to do that anymore. And I'm so thankful that harder month, which did get pretty dreadful. I had some suicidal thoughts again, certainly had near panic, which I hadn't experienced for a long time, but it passed. And I think what I'm trying to say is that I just kept doing the same things, and I kept having as much faith as I could muster, and I stayed action-based, and I let my feet take me where my mind would eventually follow, and it did in spite of myself, and that's one of my favorite things to remind myself of. I don't have to believe everything's going to be okay in order for everything to be okay. The difficulty in seeing through our discomfort collectively as a community of folks who struggle potentially with addiction and mental health, one of the things we do is we struggle to see through the times we don't feel okay. It's just part of the deal. But there is hope regardless of whether or not you think you are hopeless. And that's a good bit of news for you. And that's a good bit of news for me. Undoubtedly, whatever this wonderful little feeling in this experience is right now, as far as increased sense of wellness, it will pass. And I will have another hard day or week or month. But I would like to trust God, trust recovery, trust the process, and stay sober and just stay anyway. Because this feels really good, and I think I'm worth it, and I'm really, really grateful for it. I really appreciate it. So be brave, okay? And take care of yourself, and believe that I believe that if you're struggling, everything can be okay either way. And control what you can. I'll try to do the same. I don't mean to preach at you. I'm going to continue to try to control what I can. Stay humble. Keep digging into some imagination, some curiosity, and some wonder in my life. I had none of it 8 months ago. I lost all sense of curiosity and wonder. And we'll just take it one day at a time. That's my update. Best day ever. Best day ever. Good stuff. All right. If any of you ever want to talk, I have a link in the description below. It's a scheduling service. It's a paid service. It helps support me in my home and my family. And I love chatting with you guys on there, and I appreciate it. But I want you to comment either way, and I'd love to hear how you're doing, and I want you to know how your words of encouragement and kindness have impacted me. They really, really matter. I don't know how I got so lucky to have you guys. I don't know. But when I sometimes pop on my comment section and just read some of your words of encouragement or some of your brave shares about what you experience, whether you're in the depth of it or you're removed from it and how you're doing, it just fills me up. And I think it's a healthy leverage of this internet space. So I appreciate it, and I hope you communicate with me and continue down there. And thank you for letting me get this off my chest, and thank you for letting me share. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.